Welcome back, and particularly welcome backstage as Yoshihito Nishioka is about to take to the court against Carlos Alcaraz. The one slam, of course, that Alcaraz has yet to win, and this phenomenal career for the 21-year-old. Wily old competitor Nishioka, 29 years of age, does know how to win at this level. 3 career titles for him, a couple of top 5 wins in the course of his career. They haven't come at the majors, though, yet to beat a player inside the world's top 20 at a major. Nishioka, in the 10 times he's faced elite players. Could this be the day for the Japanese star? Alcaraz yet to lose against the southpaw at the majors, and obviously, as we know, apart from the stinging forehand that he possesses, a rock-solid double-hander. It's going to be interesting to see how Nishioka tries to stay with the Spaniard. Here come the players.
We're ready for our next match here at Margaret Arena, men's second round, and please welcome from Japan, Yoshihito Nishioka. And joining him on court, our 3rd seed from Spain, Carlos Alcaraz.
Some players play the game, some change the game, and that's the sense of this phenomenal 21-year-old. Looking already to do the career Grand Slam here at Australia before his 22nd birthday. The statistics are just remarkable. The quality of his tennis is sensational, and his personality is on point. Already thousands, if not millions, of eyeballs have gravitated towards tennis because of the way that Alcaraz has taken the stage. And that's what's in front of this man today, Nishioka. Battled hard over the course of his career. Nishioka had to overcome some significant injuries, particularly with the ACL tear that he had many years ago, and it could have derailed his career entirely. Alcaraz with 4 titles last year, of course, a couple of majors for Nishioka, 3 career titles in the course of his career. Shenzhen back in 2018, Seoul in 2022, and last year in a bit of an epic in the rain-delayed final in Atlanta against Jordan Thompson, finished gone midnight. Just underlines the quality that Nishioka has been to the 4th round here before, back in 2023, just as he made at the French Open.
Room temperature colors. Hi, how are you doing? This is Kitty. How are you? Kitty's going to do the coin toss for us. It's Yoshihito. So you need empty bottles. Normally they don't provide. I can ask if we get some room temperature water and we just pour them. Is that okay? All right. Gentlemen, welcome to MCA. Just a few reminders. We have the towel boxes marked blue and red in all the corners. Blue for you, Carlos, today. Red for you. If you need more towels, please let me know. I need to call for it. We have electronic line calling, so system makes all the calls, including foot fault. And also here we have the VR. So in case there's a not up, touch, foul shot, you can ask for a challenge 3 times per set, and then we show it on the screen and make sure that we get the right call. The shot clock is displayed in all the 4 corners for the 25 seconds. And last but not least here, please, the ball kids are not supposed to help with the towel, so you need to go yourself, but we have a bit more flexibility with the time. And final set tiebreak would be 10 points, forced 4 sets, normal to 7. And last thing, really, I promise, we take a picture with Kitty after the coin toss this way. You have any questions?
Can I get 4 white towels?
For sure. Questions now? Okay, who do you want to ask? Carlos or Yoshihito? Carlos it is, of course. AO or John Newcomb?
AO.
AO. John Newcomb for you. Here we go, Kitty. Ah, yeah, that's fantastic.
Sure.
John Newcomb, receive. Okay, picture please this way. Would you turn around, Kitty, this way? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got a feeling that Kitty wasn't the only one that would have gone that way. Who do you want to choose? Nishioka was accepting of his fate pretty well there. John Fitzgerald alongside me. Fitzy, how are you?
I'm well, Mark. Great to be with you, as always. It brightens my day, actually, to be able to watch tennis like this and call it with you. That's actually made my day too, by the way. Yoshihito, how good was he then? Of course the little girl's going to choose you, Carlos. Go ahead, make a call. Good for him. Good on him.
Dear. He is a character. He's we talk about Carlos's sort of charisma in terms of his tennis and his personality, but Nishioka is one of those kind of rare players out there. Very unique, very wily, very awkward to play against at times. Huge spin off the forehand side, very flat backhand, just doesn't quite have the pace, and that would be the concern if you're in the Nishioka camp today.
Well, I think so. What he lacks in power, I guess he makes up with leg speed, but the power has gone to another level in the game these days, and Alcaraz is at the top pinnacle of that. He can generate so much from a standing start, and that hurts a lot of players. And I think, you know, logic says that it's going to have an effect on his opponent today.
Yeah, he's ranked 65 at the moment. He's had a career high ranking of 24 back in June of 2023, has Nishioka. And that just goes to show that when he is playing well, and he certainly was back in 2023 with those deepish runs to the second week of both the Australian and the French, that he can be a difficult man to beat. The only other top 5 win he had was against Casper Ruud. So a little as I say, underpowered in these kind of battles that we're going to see today. But as for this man,
3 minutes.
The Channel Slam, secured last year, comes in here, Fitzy, with a new service motion and a slightly heavier racket as well. He, like all the players in the off-season, has just been trying to find a bit of an edge.
Well, sometimes when you tweak your game, it doesn't always work, but there's, you know, an element of I think progression for a player that's this good and wants to get better. It's a good sign, isn't it, for me, that he's continually trying to work with Juan Carlos to get better and better. This service motion that he's changed to might help. If it doesn't, he can always revert, but at least he's looking for future gains. And gee, what a player he is. Sometimes, Mark, I've wondered whether his flair and his ability to play all sorts of different shots and finish points in different ways occasionally in a match might hurt him, but because he tries so many different things. But it makes him a joy.
2 minutes.
Maybe more than anyone else to watch.
I agree. 16 titles secured for Alcaraz and a win, as you could see there, against Nishioka in Paris in 2022. So these two are not necessarily familiar foes, but they're certainly not unfamiliar. Not unfamiliar as well as the weather that we've had here in Melbourne. A little overcast this morning, a bit of rain, but hopefully that has passed.
Please put your hands together for our third seed from Spain, Alcaraz.
Delighted to say that Nishioka's coach Kazuki, I believe, is on headset. Kazuki, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Hi, how are you doing? How much is Yoshihito looking forward to this match against Carlos today?
1 minute.
Oh, he was looking for playing against him, and yeah, he will try best.
What do you think is his best way of trying to stay with Carlos and ultimately beat him today?
Oh, he needs to more aggressive play, and yeah, aggressive grand stroke. Of course, sometimes he has to go to net. Yeah, he has to play more aggressive.
Kazuki, John Fitzgerald here. Thank you for talking to us, and we're fans of your player. He's got a lot of courage, doesn't he? And we've seen him for a lot of years now. The backhand he uses across court with such accuracy, do you see that as a way to try to get to Alcaraz a little bit?
Sorry?
Do you find his backhand across court is something he can use against Carlos to try and win the points?
Yeah. Nishioka has a good backhand, so he have to use. Sorry, I'm not good at English, but yeah, have to use his backhand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kazuki, your English is a lot better than mine and Fitzy's Japanese, so thank you for spending the time talking to us. You're Yoshito just about ready to get underway, and good luck.
Thank you.
Arigato.
I should have just put myself in that category, not you. I didn't realize you were fluent.
Fluent. Fluent in about 5 words, but I love the respect. I just love that part of the culture, and I've always admired their tennis players. I've got some good friends that I've played against still. Shiyoshi Fukui, if you're watching.
Magnificent country.
Yeah, and another a whole group of players from up there that I have the ultimate respect for. This is a tough ask, so tough one.
First set, Carlos Alcaraz to serve. Ready? Play. $15 left.
Couple of nice quick points. Start off with here for Alcaraz. Juan Carlos Ferrero looking on. The rest of the team down on court side, which has generally been the place that the teams have decided to sit.
You instantly see the power and the accuracy, don't you? The better players, the great players like this one, they generate the power, but they hit it with accuracy. It's almost like they're hitting within themselves. They're not redlining, but they still create this power to put you on the back foot. He gets your attention straight away, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And what obviously gets our attention is this new motion that he's been working on. He said it's a lot looser. His hand's a lot looser. He feels as though he was holding it a little bit stiffly. It's much more fluid at the top there. Used to be actually a two-part serve, and now you can see that racket, although slowing up, continues to go to hit the ball. So it is very much a one-piece now for Alcaraz. Said in his presser after his opening round win against Shevchenko, still not entirely natural. I still have to think about it in the match compared to in practice, but it's getting better. And the other thing that he changed, of course, was putting about 5 grams of weight in the neck of the racket. So a lot of Spanish players have a lot of weight at the top end of the racket in the head. Carlos had a pretty light racket in general.
What about Rafa? He had a very light racket, right, compared to
15.
In the decades before when some of the rackets got to 400 grams. His was quite light. Where was his weight? Do you know? Was it in the neck?
No, his was in the head. His was in the head, yeah.
But I think generally the weight would have been a lot less than generations before. Gee whiz, for most players, for most of us mortals, that is one heck of a shot. I think for Carlos, it's just run of the mill.
$15.30. 15-14.
Yeah, Rafa was around about 340 grams when it was strung. Before the change for Alcaraz, he was sitting at about 330 grams strung.
Game, Alcaraz.
Well, I appreciate you knowing that. I put you on the spot there, so I apologise for that, mate. Well, I know that you are a font of knowledge. I know you've got it. If it's not in there already, it's at your fingertips. But that's great information, isn't it? Because 330, 10 grams less than Rafa, but now he's added a little bit.
Yeah, historically he was at the bottom end, but obviously, you know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because obviously the lighter the racket, the faster his arm is. But they wanted to get a little bit more stability, a little bit of a heavier ball coming back at the opponent. And so far, so good in this one.
Oh, he shouldn't have won that point. Should not have won it. And I didn't pick the drop shot.
Nobody did.
I'm trying to look at the dimensions of the court and think what's coming next. And in my mind, it wasn't this shot.
How good is that? Just standing on the equipment for last minute. It's not the first time he's kind of tweaked his racket. He actually changed from the Pure Aero Babolat, which he had played with since the age of 9 in 2021, to the Pure Aero VS. The Pure Aero was a 16-19 string pattern. The VS is a 16-20. It's got one extra string in it, so it gives you more control.
Less spin, maybe?
Yeah, a little bit, but more control.
40 left.
Control is what he has in this opening set already.
Yeah, so when there's less mains, it bites on the ball a little more, the string pattern. Yeah. Nuances, small nuances, but important ones.
$40-15. Game, Alcaraz.
It's really impressive. Perfect start for Alcaraz. 3-love. Well, we kind of know what he's going to produce. It was always a question of what Nishioka could do out here against Alcaraz's power. He was perhaps hoping that this new service motion might offer up a little bit of an opening in the early sort of couple of games here, as it's still being put together, but that certainly hasn't been the case. That was absolutely superb. He's not just getting good pace, but he is peppering the lines. Day 4 here at the Australian Open, and it is the greatest tennis event in the world. It has got so much for the fans to enjoy. Obviously the tennis taking center stage, but around the fringes of that, the entertainment, the DJ, the other racket sports that we have.
Time.
And plenty of open areas for people to sit back, see the big screen and enjoy the show. Tennis Australia doing a simply wonderful job with this event.
That is a big statement. Even from you?
Even from me.
Yeah. Well, I know I sit up and listen when you make statements. the best tennis event in the world, you just said. Is that true? Can I confirm that?
You can confirm that. I did just say that. That's how I feel.
Wow. I'm getting a little tear in my eye.
We've been seeing Alcaraz do that. This is a kind of more of his 2022 return position in New York when he went on to win the title there against Casper Ruud in the final, in terms of how aggressive he's looking to be, whether that has any bearing on the slightly heavier racket. He feels as though he's got more control. But he is certainly looking to try and dominate a little bit more.
15-all.
Just feel at any moment it's showtime, don't you? You just feel like he just pulls that racket back like an archer with the arrow,
15,
and you are
30.
just waiting for it to go.
And the change of pace is so obvious. That hurts the opposition. A lot of players around that hit with the same pace all the time. You never know what's coming from Alcaraz.
Actually outmaneuvered himself there, Alcaraz, by swiveling a little bit to his left. And there's the backhand you were talking about.
That's what we talked to Kaisuke before the match about, is this one. That's his favourite shot. He feels safe and he thinks he can hurt the opposition. And when he plays a right-hander, he goes out to that forehand wing a lot with that double-hander across court. But, you know, he's going to have to press so much. You can see in his body language there, he just feels a little lost. He's not sure how he can win points here consistently. And you can understand. Happens to a lot of players against this opposition.
Game, Alcaraz.
And I think
leads 4
he would
games
miss
to
that
love.
two-hander much less, or any of his ground strokes much less, against different opposition. You feel so much pressure in this arena against one of the world's best, and the ball is coming at a rapid rate of knots back at you, and you have little time.
Looking to be the youngest player ever on the men's side to do the career Grand Slam. Rafa, the youngest at 24 years and 3 months. That's on the men's side, of course. Stephanie Graf, at 19 years of age, did the calendar Golden Slam. Insane.
Steffi.
Yep. 19 years old.
Why is she not more in the conversation about the greatest
15 love.
women's player ever? I know that whole realm of discussion is a bit silly in a way, because they're different eras. But why is she not more in the discussion as the best player that's ever played the game in the women's side?
It's crazy to me.
Well, she's certainly right there with all of the greats.
30 love.
And off the top of your head, here's a question. Do you know the other? Of course you do. Just a little mini test. Do you know the other 8 players that have won career Grand Slams in singles?
In singles.
In the men?
In the men.
Off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, Rod Laver, Don Budge. Novak, Roger, Rafa, Andre.
14.
6 out of 8. If we can't get it here, I promise everybody he will not look this up in the ad break.
Game.
Alcaraz is rolling
leads
through this.
5
Nishioka
games to
has no solutions to the power and the precision. It is 5-love. Looking comfortable. Nice cool conditions here in Melbourne for Alcaraz, as he has whistled through the opening 5 games in just 15 minutes. Kay Fitzy, put me out of my misery.
Well, you're doing an injustice to your country and to mine.
Okay, so that's Fred Perry?
Yes. And I'll give you a hint. The last one that you haven't got yet is the only player to win all 4 majors in singles and in doubles. I'm not giving him a hint off air, everybody. He's probably listening to us from California right now. And he is coming to the Australian Open this year. Roy Emerson.
That's it. Ugh.
The great Roy Emerson. The most entertaining speaker I've heard in tennis.
That's just too good.
Too good. So if Alcaraz can win here this year, Mark, he joins that illustrious group. And he's 21 years of age.
30.
That's the only little bit of tennis knowledge I knew more than you.
Not at all. That's not even.
I'm so happy.
Love 14.
He looks despondent, doesn't he? Oh, goodness me.
First set,
Showtime. Set 1 in the
6 games to
bag.
love.
Barely points dropped, let alone games, by Alcaraz. 6-love. Well, the only good news for Nishioka here is that I've lost matches in this time, not just sets.
Well, let's hope he gets on the board early, because that can really shatter your confidence if you're out there and you just feel all at sea. You feel like there's no way you can win a game, and he probably has a bit of that feeling at the moment. I mean, Alcaraz is such a level, such a high level. I mean, that last forehand, you know, if each player in the draw hit one as good as that in the tournament, they'd be happy. He just did it in his sleep.
Yeah, and it's hard when you watch a set like that to honestly think. Nishioka's sitting there. He looks like he's sitting on a park bench, looking in the distance, contemplating life. And he may not be there for 45 minutes because of the way that opening set went in terms of time. But it's difficult as you sit here going, well, if he did this, that would work out quite nicely for him, or if he did that a little bit better, it's going to work. He is just going to need Alcaraz to play a little poorly.
Well, he needs a perfect storm almost to win every point, and then you need 4 of them in a game.
Time.
Well, Alcaraz is a little special. Most Grand Slam titles before the age of 22. Alcaraz, of course, sitting with 4 right now. That matches up with Wilander, the great Boris Becker, and the legendary Bjorn Borg. Jim Courier, who had 3. Rafa had 3. Alcaraz could beat that particular number.
Love it, team. Let's second serve.
Plants one on the line and out of the reach of Nishioka.
$15 all.
That was an opportunity. It was just a little late on the volley, and then they try to carve it back across court.
Right now he's, I'm not inside Nishioka's head, but it looks like he doesn't believe he can win a game here, and that's a devastating feeling. If you're in a stadium like this, he's just not quite sure how to structure a point to win enough points in a game to win it. I would imagine. I'm feeling for him. Oh, there you go. Well, that's his trademark.
40-13.
Has the ability to take it early and creates so much angle. with the accuracy.
Yeah, another good smash couple in that game for Alcaraz. 7-love to him at the moment, and he is controlling the baseline, not just behind his own serve, which most players do, but also off the return as well. Nishioka not with one of the biggest serves out there, as you can see. Almost a 30-kilometer difference between first serves between these two on average, and that is allowing Alcaraz to really sort of step inside the baseline and just take this man's time away. Usually he can gain a little bit of advantage with the way he sets up Nishioka with his serve, but not today so far.
In so many ways it looks like a bad matchup, doesn't it, for Yoshihito? This is a difficult predicament. New balls. Let's hope he can use them to his advantage.
It's enough.
Well, that's a building block. That's almost unfair.
15-all.
Pretty decent two-hander up the line here. You'd think at least you'd get another hit on this ball. But no.
Trying to get a little extra depth on the second serve to protect him, because he is not picking up many points at all. Just 2 out of 10 for Nishioka on second serve points 1. Where he just misses, Alcaraz just makes.
That's an indication of how much time Alcaraz feels he has. Sizes the situation up and has a crack. Wasn't rushed at all. The opposite is happening down the other end.
Couple of doubles, and that is a couple of games for Alcaraz in this second set. Things going from bad to worse for Nishioka. Alcaraz, since the start of 2022, has played players ranked outside the world's top 50 on 68 occasions. He did lose to Montero down in Rio, but he was injured and he pulled out of the match. So in the completed matches, only lost 4 times. Of course, he did lose to Van der Zandschulp at the US Open last year. Dutchman ranked 74.
15 up.
Well, we've been looking at his new service motion. What has it brought to the table from last year? Well, it's brought an extra 7Ks for Alcaraz, and that is a big differential for a player. Less time for his opponents. Flighted this to perfection. Look at that.
It's poetry in motion spiced with power.
40 left.
Fourth ace.
Game, Alcaraz.
Quickly followed by a fifth ace, a ninth game in a row for Alcaraz, running right out here on the Margaret Arena. We're showing the extra pace on serve that Nishioka is trying to deal with, and also the lack of pace coming from the racket of the Japanese star on the return, which has allowed Alcaraz to shift his position. But he's already shifted in his opening match against Shevchenko. This is where he was averaging last year, Alcaraz, in terms of his return hit points in 2024. Let's take a little look. He's gone a little deeper on the first serve return position, giving himself a bit more time, but substantially forward on the second serve so far. It could be opponent specific. Shevchenko doesn't have the greatest serve, and obviously we've seen that from Nishioka, but it is something that we'll track throughout the tournament.
It's sort of early days, isn't it, with that information? It's interesting, though.
Time.
Nishioka having a good laugh with his team there, perhaps asking if they've got a longer racket, one a bit more powerful, or can find him a serve that travels over 200 Ks. Yeah, well, something. He's desperate.
He's a proud competitor, and you can understand here. He probably feels like as good as his game is, he's just being covered in every facet here. And he's not playing as well now because he just feels so down about the situation, I think. He doesn't normally miss that backhand.
Let's for serve.
That's a great serve. He needs a few of those. Couple of free points to help him get on the scoreboard. You know, I think if he gets on the scoreboard too, he will play a little better, because it just takes that burden of helplessness away from you a little bit, allows you to open your shoulders a bit. I've got my fingers crossed for him. I hope he gets this game, and then he'll play a little better then.
Good pace.
Come on, Yoshihito.
191. Fastest serve of the match.
There's going to be an almighty roar in here. Wow. Well, it was like a pressure valve.
40.
Just building towards
30.
the end of this point. And when the opportunity presents itself here, and he's got time, the racket head speed increases quite considerably. Good man.
Nishioka.
That's a relief. I can tell you I've experienced it, and it is not a nice position to be in. When you feel like you just can't win points out here against a great player, and that helps.
Enough.
It's actually hard to kind of explain as well to people, because Nishioka is a wonderful player. I mean, 3 career titles is testament to that, being inside the world's top 25. But the difference between that level and the very elite is so big that it is very hard to kind of articulate unless you've been out there on the court and you realize yourself that these players play a different game to the one that you play.
Well, I think in this case it's partly also to do with the matchup, because Alcaraz is just better in every facet, really.
30, love.
And I mean, I hate to make some things about sort of our player and careers, Fitzy, but I remember playing Becker one year at Wimbledon, and I was good friends with Stefan Edberg. And
now you're name dropping.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what I said. I hate to say it, but it was kind of, I'm just trying to make the point, the difference that it is. That, you know, Stefan said to me, when you try and make the return, try and make it down low to Boris's forehand volley. That's the area that he struggles the most on with his volley.
Yeah.
I went out on court 1. It was the first year of court 1. It was much quicker than the outside courts where I'd played a couple of matches.
And you couldn't get a beat on the serve.
I couldn't get a beat on it, and I was just like, at that point, and I'd never taken a set off Stefan anyway in practice, I was like, this is a different game. He's trying to direct the return, and I'm just literally trying to put it in.
Yeah.
And that's what Nishioka feels at the moment out there, is just no real solutions. Alcaraz is superior in every department, and it's showing in the scoreline. 4-1. Eyes on Alcaraz. But, most of the empathy on the other side of the court with Nishioka. Had such a good year in 2023. The Japanese star, as I said, 4th round of both Aussie and the French. Then he ended up getting a stress fracture in his femur that cut short his grass court campaign, and ended up kind of dropping off a little bit. Back end of last year, picked up a back injury, Nishioka, and those are the sort of things that are going to slightly derail your momentum that you've built up. Nishioka last year, after coming off his 3rd title in Atlanta, went to Cincy and had to qualify. Managed to do that, won a round against Kecmanovic, was looking to snap a 10-match losing streak against Hubie Hurkacz, and was just 4 points away from winning Nishioka in the 2nd set breaker. Couldn't do it. then ended up erupting, unfortunately, in the third set. Lost his mind a little bit, ended up getting a game penalty, smashing a few balls out of court, Nishioka, to go down a double break, and then goes to the US Open. This game is not kind to your mind. Ends up cramping in the fifth set, having a stop against Kecmanovic, but had been serving for the win at 5-4 in the fourth with a couple of match points.
Wow. Yeah.
There is a lot of adversity out there for these players to deal with.
You know, you talked about that example with playing against Boris, and they see, and Stefan, they see the game differently. They have more space and time. Bill Bryson would be really happy to talk to them, because, you know, space and time, it's an important part of this game, and they have bigger spaces seemingly to hit the ball into, and they have more time to do it. Because right now we're seeing an example of Nishioka not having time. You know, some of these shots he's missing, he does not miss against lesser players. But the ball's coming a bit quicker. There's more atmosphere. There's more intimidation. And you don't want the luck to turn against you as well.
Yeah, being great and lucky is a nice irresistible combination, isn't it? That's not a bad approach shot. Alcaraz getting behind it, and no chance for Nishioka.
It's just awesome. The balance, the speed.
Plays that like he's picking up his grandma's china.
I thought it was Rudolf Nureyev getting into position for a forehand there, and then he hits a drop shot. Watch how he just glides. Well, he's out of position, but he glides here across. He appeared, that was space and time. That was like he transcended time there. Got across, appears in another part of the court, and then hits a drop shot. At some stage, Mark, I want to ask you about a potential new phenom we've got. Now, we already know Alcaraz is one, but you did a match last night. There's a new kid on the block, isn't there?
Joao Fonseca was awesome last night against Rublev. Andre didn't play badly. Fonseca's forehand.
30 left.
And his serve, to be honest, I think that's probably been the biggest revelation for all of us, is just how accurate and how pacey his serve was. For 2 sets, he was basically averaging 175 kilometers an hour on his second serve. Second serve.
So for those that don't know, he's Brazilian. And we need to wind this up quickly because this set is coming to an abrupt end. But
14 left.
18 years old.
Yep. He qualified here, played his first Grand Slam match against a top 10 player and wins. And won in style.
Game in second set.
As is Alcaraz, just bullying Nishioka out here at the moment.
By 2 sets to love.
2 sets to love. yeah, this is just not going to make pretty reading. It's a nice uptick for Nishioka in terms of first serve points won, but it's never going to be enough against somebody like Alcaraz, who has still lost just the 1 point behind his first serve. 17 out of 18 for Alcaraz as we run back and rewind to that second set, and it's a Carlitos compilation. It's such a good mover, Nishioka, and often with that heavily spun forehand, he can kind of buy himself time to get back into the point, but against the firepower that comes from the other side of the court, there's just simply no chance whatsoever.
Done.
Oscar Wilde once said that a second marriage is the triumph of optimism over experience. And there's a little bit of that for Nishioka. Not in terms of marriage, but I make the marriage segue because he did get married in December. So congrats to him and Soma on their wedding in December. But it is a bit more delving into the realm of optimism rather than experience of what we've seen in the last couple of sets to imagine that this could get close. I'm not sure it will. And I'm not sure Nishioka understandably feels as though there is anything within his game. It even feels as though if he went full nuclear off the ground, it's not going to be good enough because he's just going to simply make too many unforced errors.
Probably, but it's probably worth having a crack at something like that, isn't it? Just see if you can go hard nearly at every ball.
Out. 15-30. Out. 15-14.
He just doesn't have the luxury of lethal speed off the forehand in particular because of the spin rate, and therefore has to try and cut it closer to the line, which is going to flirt with an unforced error.
Out.
30-14.
Yes. First real loose shot from Alcaraz. Maybe Nishioka can get himself up and running in this third set with a hold of serve.
Advantage, Nishioka.
Chance to double his games tally.
Again, Nishioka.
Well, he just dropped his concentration there, Carlos, a little bit. You can understand why. But it looked to me like that's what happened. The forehand at 30-40 was just almost experimental. And he's so safe on that backhand return when the left-handed first serve is curving wide there. He eats that for breakfast, but it's a bit more complicated to hit a forehand with that ball coming into your right hip. And so he gave a free point away there and followed it up with another one. No real harm done. But Cully did it.
$15 left.
Wow, what a serve. Couldn't have walked it around the net and placed it any better. 10th ace already for Alcaraz.
Gee, the power of that forehand approach is pretty extraordinary.
40.
You don't face that on the tour too often unless you play one of these
Could be interesting.
top end guys.
Yeah, sorry, Fitzy. We're going to be interesting to see. We've talked a little bit about the racket change in terms of the weight. What's that going to mean to his shots? Look at that. He's dropped about 200 RPM, so it's a flatter hit, but he's still got a nice spin rate. Not up in the 3000s, but that's a nice spin rate. Still got plenty of control, but maybe more penetration because of the weightier racket on the ball that's going to be coming through to his opponents. Of course, sterner tests in the next few rounds for Alcaraz, and a couple of extra kilometers an hour on the ball as well. 122, I believe, from last year, KPH, and 124 this year so far. Again, that may change with an opponent that's hitting the ball a little swifter than Nishioka is today. Nishioka looking up to the stars. Someone's looking after him at the moment. Couple of mils out. Brilliant. That's the backhand that Fitzy highlighted before this match. Just hasn't had many opportunities to use it. But a sweet sequence of shots there from Nishioka.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced he would make this shot selection if he was playing someone else. It's almost desperation, isn't it, to try and finish the point. If he plays it his regular way, the odds are he's not going to win the point from the back. So he goes for something extra special.
40-15.
That's the fine line you talked about, him walking just to win points. But he may stay ahead in this set.
Nishioka.
Couple of holds at the start of the third set. Rousing reception for the 29-year-old.
Balls, please.
Digging in.
Nishioka leads 2-1.
Talked a little bit about the ACL that he tore back in 2017, was playing jack soccer at that particular stage in the second round. Had to miss the remainder of the season. And then bounced back with that title in Shenzhen. Was ranked actually as a qualifier 171 in the world when he went on to win that title. Beat Shapovalov, saved a couple of match points. There is karma in this sport occasionally, isn't there, Fitzy? You just got to look for it somewhere. Doesn't always feel like it as a player. You remember the defeats, the pain. Sometimes you don't always remember the wins that you get given. Look at that.
No, karma is real. I think there was a little bit of it in this tournament so far. It's around just the corner.
Doesn't always turn up so swiftly.
Time.
Nishioka has dug in over the course of the year, made Del Rey final 3 times. He was down a set in South Florida before getting through to the final. Saved a match point against De Minaur before getting through to the Washington final in the US. He is down here, not quite out. But he's at least made a bit of an impact here in the third set, whereas he could not make any inroads in the opening 2.
Left.
Fault.
15-all.
Out.
30-15.
Out.
40-15.
Got to pick his poison here a little bit, Nishioka, if he's going to try and make some sort of gains on the returns, whether that is going full Medvedev back and then trying to loop the ball back, but I'm not sure that's going to work because he doesn't have much more pace, or maybe just try and come in and crowd inside the baseline and have a swing at it, like you said, Fitzy, go full radioactive on the return and just hope he clubs a couple. I just love it. You cannot not admire how well he makes the grip change and then feathers the ball over. Giorgio Moreno is physio to the right of Juan Carlos. And judging by the way that Carlitos looks in that sleeveless shirt, he's done a pretty nice job off season. You wouldn't mind a couple of those triceps, Fitzy?
Oh, it's no big deal. You've got to kid yourself a little bit in life.
Yeah, I
Mark.
know. Clearly you don't have any mirrors in your house.
Well, for good reason.
A man after my own heart.
Oh, yes, sir. There we go, back to business. Transferred his weight there.
15-all.
And he's got racket head speed anyway, but when you run through the ball like this, it creates more.
Yeah, and that was what Fonseca did yesterday. That was perhaps, again,
15,
just
30.
hugely entertaining. I mean, his forehand, he's hit the biggest forehand of the tournament, 181 Ks, bigger than anyone else. He's 18 years old, but it was his poise on his backhand and his willingness to take his backhand into Rublev's biggest shot, the forehand, that was just incredible. And if you want a great example of how good he is, you just need to go and look at the last 2 points of the third set breaker. He had a sniper's chance with a backhand down the line that he made for a clean winner. And then just wrap things up with a forehand down the line that he just does in his sleep. And that's what's so impressive. Smoothly done.
(30-40).
Where he can, he's hanging on. Doesn't make the same mistake he did earlier in the set at 30-40.
3 games to 2.
Crushes the return and crushes this man's spirit. 2 sets to love and a break to Alcaraz. Always nice just to be able to put your foot down when you need to, and Alcaraz has certainly done that in that last game. It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, there were a few words, weren't there, from Juan Carlos Ferrero. No, I'm sure nothing too aggressive towards his charge, but probably just saying, you know, just knuckle down a little bit here, just put this away. And he snapped back, didn't he? I mean, in the first game, he probably lost a bit of concentration. 6-love, 6-1 would be easy to do that, but
Time.
he's back on song there.
Whisking you down the Yarra, and you're going to stay dry with us here. It was a little bit of a damp start in Melbourne today, but here at Melbourne Park now, thankfully roofs are open. Play underway, some big storylines being written on day 4. Comfortable so far, of course, for a man chasing the career Grand Slam at 21.
(15 left). (15 all).
Well, there's a lot in his arsenal. He can do all sorts of different things and win points in so many different ways. Out of nowhere, he just comes forward. Got very casual on that volley. would normally have a bit more intensity through that shot. And again, so the concentration has just had mini lapses here in this third set. Probably understandable considering the scoreline.
That's unlucky. Can't leave it short, just low-hanging fruit for Alcaraz to go to work on, and he was trying to just neutralize the ball, and yeah, slightly overhit it. Mini opportunity slides by.
It's just tough to match him for power. It's just not there.
40-30.
And that's no disrespect. It's not there for most pros. Not like this man.
Game. Alcaraz. Alcaraz leads 4 games.
His suboptimal service games are going his way. Haven't you got to get down to the court? I'm a little concerned that you're going to get down there in time.
I do. Would you like me to leave? I think that's what I'm hearing. I have to interview Carlos if he wins this, of course. I have to interview the winner of this match. So I'm starting to think about going down to the court, Mark. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm worried because when you go out the door, you get stopped by all the autograph hunters. So I'm concerned if you don't leave now, if we don't bring security, you're not going to get down there in time before Carlos wants to walk off.
Stand-up comedy is not your forte. But it was a pleasure being in the room with you. I might head down. Well, maybe I'll wait. If Yoshi can win this game and prolong it a little bit.
15-all. Let's for serve.
Yeah, he's just lost his way for a second, Alcaraz, in terms of playing the percentage game that he was. Sprinkled with a little bit of power. And Nishioka can keep himself in the conversation in this third set. Lovely body serve. Alcaraz will probably be seeing a few more of those if he's going to continue to patrol inside the baseline with his second serve position. Nishioka does hang on. A little quicker delivery as well from Nishioka by about 7 Ks on that second serve. Nice bit of swing, and Alcaraz, who perhaps had just got a little distracted as the finishing line was appearing swiftly in the forecourt, allowed this man to just pull up within 1 game of him here in this third set.
Time.
Oh, the 50% of this game that you can control. Nishioka has done a better job of it here in the third set. Arguably this man giving him a little bit more of a helping hand than he did in the opening couple. And a couple of games for Alcaraz will see him safely through into the third round.
Love 15. $15 all.
13th ace. Well, again, for a second return game in a row, Nishioka just making a few inroads into the Alcaraz serve. Can he capitalize on this opportunity?
The deal.
Measured to perfection.
40-30. Use.
Alcaraz electing to go with the setup serve that time around.
Advantage. Alcaraz. Game, Alcaraz. Alcaraz leads 5-3.
Fault.
First time that Alcaraz has been taking a deuce in this match today.
Fault.
It's good pressure from Nishioka.
30 love.
Stored his pride a little bit in this third set, has Nishioka.
Game, Nishioka.
The 4 games are a welcome reward for his endeavours. Alcaraz, however, will serve for the match after this. A little bit of a quiet set against Shevchenko in the second, Alcaraz, but this is, for the most part, been a nice consistent level from him, doing what he needed to, certainly in this third set, and certainly enough polish in the opening couple to encourage him, particularly behind his serve. As there's been a nice aspect of this one for him in terms of the number of aces that he's produced. Despite how comprehensively he's been leading, that was the game face that he brings to the office every single time. Just an hour and 18 minutes on the clock as Alcaraz serves for a place in the third round.
Enough.
14 aces is the same number that he served against Casper Ruud in the final of the US Open in the championship that he won there in 2022.
Dirty love. 40 left.
Very impressive second serve. Not just the location, but the pace. Looked very secure at 171 Ks coming in. As secure as he's looked the entirety of this match.
Fault.
40-15. Game, set, match, Alcaraz. 6 love, 6-1, 6-4.
Super simple. Alcaraz breezes into the third round here in Melbourne. Nishioka without the ammunition to trouble Alcaraz at all. There was a polished performance from the Spaniard. May have landed a little late in Australia, but he has landed in the third round and he is yet to drop a set. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say about that serving performance. Nishioka obviously doesn't necessarily have the wingspan, but 14 aces is his third best ever on tour, as an outlier against Struff at Wimbledon, as we say goodbye to Nishioka. Be interesting to see what he can produce this season. And if he can pick up a fourth career title after that third one in Atlanta last year. Second highest number of aces that Alcaraz served was against Tiafoe at Wimbledon. Again, another 5-setter. That was 16, and then Hugo Humbert in a 4-setter. So by sets and games, that was a very high ratio for Alcaraz, and it'll be interesting to see as this tournament goes on whether that serve is going to be able to lift the number of points that he actually doesn't have to get involved in, because he's going to get so many more unreturned. Maybe he's not going to be able to hit that many aces against some of the better players, obviously the likes of Novak, who's waiting in the quarterfinals. But in terms of what that means for him, that would lighten the workload considerably. He's never really been a guy that hits his spots looking for the cheap points. And just to back up that argument, against Berrettini here in 2022 in a 5-setter that went to a deciding set breaker, he hit just 12 against the Italian. So that's the brains. Alvaro's brother to the right of Juan Carlos Ferrer at the back there, and they'll be very happy with how things transpired there. John Fitzgerald has got through his admiring fans, and he'll be the man on the mic with Carlos.
Carlos, thank you. Thanks for stopping. But you do have a bit of time on your hands. That was rather quick. You're off going somewhere today?
Looks like. I mean, I think, you know, as less time as you spend on the court, you know, in the Grand Slams, you know, especially at the beginning of the tournament, I think it's gonna be better, you know, especially physically. I'm feeling great, I guess. But yeah, I just try to be focused and spend as less time as I can.
You're saving some energy.
I try.
Okay. It looks like you've made some changes in the off-season. It's a small off-season, we know. But the serve is a little different. It was pretty good today. You must be happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the serve today. This is something that I worked in the precision in the first round. I struggled a little bit, so I wasn't too happy, you know, in the first round with the serve. So yesterday I was, you know, more focused on practice the serve. I spent more time just serving with Juan Carlos, with my team, and it's something that I really want to be better. So I'm just glad that today works pretty well. Hopefully, in the next round, it's going to be better.
Maybe that's why you're so good. You're not satisfied easily. Most of us would be very satisfied with that, Carlos. Now, also, I know your trainer's over here. You are a stylish man. You know, you've cut the sleeves off this year, and I think the biceps are a little bit bigger. A little bit? Just a little bit bigger.
I think my fitness goals could be happy, you know, with my biceps. Probably, I don't know. A lot of people told me about it, you know, your biceps, and okay, I'm just happy to hear that, I guess.
You haven't put any more mirrors in the house, no? No?
Just a few more.
Carlos, you haven't won this tournament, which is quite surprising because you've won many others. The other 3 majors, you're aware, I know, because players, I think, great players, know a bit about the history of the game, and I'm sure you do. There are not many players that have won all 4 championships in the majors.
Yeah, I know it. So that's one of the reasons that I really want to win this tournament one day, just to put my name on that short list. Yeah, I'm here. I'm working every day just to be ready for that time. So as I said, hopefully this year, 2 weeks, could be long, super long, I guess. So I just want to be day by day, and let's see how it's gonna feel. But right now, what I'm thinking right now is in the next round, and hopefully, get further.
Well, you're a modest man, and I'm being a little bit naughty because the people here need to know that there is 8 other players in the history of the men's game that have won all 4 major singles championships. You've won 3, and you were the youngest to do that at 21. But I can see the modesty up close here. I can see it. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the next round. And we are looking forward to it, Carlos. You're a special player. Thank you coming down.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, I see Fitzy didn't want to go with a bicep off with Carlos. That was a shame. I would have liked to have seen that, but he decided that it was probably a good idea not to. Carlos in absolutely perfect nick in that particular match, and I think he's going to be even more pleased than he was after the Shevchenko match. And of course, a man with 4 majors knows how to kind of build his progress through the 7 hurdles that he's going to have to clear if he's going to win here in Melbourne for the very first time. It is a big ask to win the career slam for players. As Fitzy just said, just 8 players have managed to do it over the course of their careers, and it has taken them a lot longer. Nadal being the youngest at just over 24 years old when the great Spaniard did it, and he is following in the footsteps of those players that have managed to achieve it. Sterner tests will come for Carlos, but he is one of those players that can hold one of these one-sided matches extremely well. I did say he served a lot of aces, and he just said there, am I a serve bot? You're not quite a serve bot yet, Carlos, but you never know. Maybe that's coming in your future as well. Precious few points dropped on serve, just 4 on the second, 3 on the first. And Nishioka, unfortunately for him, significantly underpowered in all departments today. It was fast forward in terms of the way the scoreboard moved. A couple of slow motion moves from Alcaraz, the balance, the poise. the athleticism, the balletic nature of his tennis. It is super endearing and super engaging as a tennis fan. Seven matches needed to win a major. Two of them down for Alcaraz, as that is his particular section. A lot of Aussies in there. Draper takes on Kokkinakis. Both have had their injury troubles in recent times. Vukic takes on Korda, who's been in great nick since coming back from that elbow surgery in the second week of October. Great week last week for Korda as the runner-up. Thompson taking on Borges, who's got some points to defend here. Plenty of incentive for him, but Jordan Thompson, seeded at a Grand Slam for the very first time in his career, has been one of the standouts in the last 12 months. And he'll be the favourite to try and take on Alcaraz in the third round. But things shaping up very nicely for the 21-year-old Spaniard.
Control, the outlook is a not the ball 3 band, so 13